What? They want to see more houses? If these buyers don't pick soon, we're going to have to sit down and have a come to Jesus meeting. Wait, what? You want me to run more ads and do more open houses and you won't lower the price of your house? Yeah, we need to have a come to Jesus meeting. Wait a minute, what? You're telling me that agent is complaining again about not getting any leads from us and won't spend any time at all picking up the phone, starting conversations? Are you kidding? Bring him in here. We need to have a come to Jesus meeting. Hey, what's up, guys? This week on the blog, Christina asked for help with establishing boundaries. And I love this question because when someone comes to me wanting help with boundary issues, it almost always means that they're feeling run over or taken advantage of by their client or like all of their clients and everybody in their life. And so to help people correct this situation, I always run through a series of 4 different awarenesses. And the first one is that we all have boundaries, whether we're conscious of them or not. So it's not a matter of establishing boundaries, it's becoming aware that they exist. And anytime you felt compelled to bring Jesus into the picture and have that come to Jesus meeting with anybody on any topic under the sun, here's what you can know for sure: they hit a boundary that you've had. The second awareness is that as an entrepreneur, you get to decide all by yourself where those boundaries lie. There's no right or wrong, there's only your choice. The third awareness is that you can move them anytime. So as you grow and your interests in this, in what you want to do with your career change and expand, you can move your boundaries. Again, that's your choice, one of the benefits of being an entrepreneur. But then the fourth awareness is that you have to not only decide and establish your boundaries consciously, but then you have to communicate them to the rest of the world. Because if I'm interacting with you and I cross your boundary, but you didn't attempt to let me know that you had a boundary in the first place, well, then that's not my fault that you're upset. That would be yours. Think of it this way. If you've come into the real estate industry from corporate America, which so many people do, it helps to remember that in corporate America, the company, the corporation, sets the boundaries for us, meaning they decide where we're going to work, what time we need to be there generally, what time we need to leave generally, what projects we're going to work on, when they're due, how much we're going to be paid for the time that we're trading, how much vacation we're going to have and when we can use it. So boundary after boundary after boundary. And one of the things that drives people into our industry is the freedom of making all of those choices ourselves. But so often when I'm working with people, I realize that, if we don't bring this forth and talk about it, then people end up just chasing the next deal, the next commission, doing the best they can, forgetting that there's no one there to set those boundaries anymore. So we have to do that for ourselves as independent business owners. Okay, so going back to the awarenesses, the second one about deciding. Tactically, when I'm working with someone, there are a few things that you can decide that I think will help you immediately, especially if you're struggling with this right now. The first boundary that you should decide on and establish is your day off. Okay, so my day Sunday, if you work with me in any capacity, you're immediately going to know that I'll do anything I can for you Monday through Saturday, but Sunday, you literally are not going to be able to reach me unless I choose, and I rarely choose, to talk to people outside of my immediate family. The next is to decide the time of day that you're going to stop work. What's not only the day off, but the time of day you're off. Because at corporate America, I know that in society we have this conversation about people, taking their work home. But look, not everybody has that life. Sometimes when the store closes, the employee goes home and they have the benefit of not thinking about work. Well, you can do that too. Work doesn't have to follow you around like a little puppy dog, but it will if you don't decide when you're going to stop. Now, here's something that will help you decide when you're going to stop, and that is to draw a boundary around where you work. So these videos that I record for you are mostly shoot all of them in my a room in my house that's my set aside for my office. So everything in here is business related. And when I decide to stop work today and I walk out that door, I will close the door. And the closed door is not only a physical boundary, but it's a psychological boundary as well, to remind me that even though I might be tempted, now work is in this room, work isn't out here. And that boundary helps you with your personal relationships, with your family. I don't know if you can see Chug in the chair. He's, it even helps with relationships with your little furry children as well, okay? And so, what was that? The third tactical thing that you can do to establish boundaries. The next one, number 4, would be your workflow. So think about your calendar and how your day flows. Every appointment on your calendar, including those lead generation appointments, which I know you set religiously, right? Even those are boundaries, and you have a choice to let people interrupt those appointments or not. To the extent that you do, well, you start to realize that, all right, eventually you realize I can't be upset with other people because it's up to me to control all of this. Okay, so once those boundaries are established, you're gonna feel much better about yourself overall as a professional, and you'll be able to move on to more transactional style boundaries. So for example, how far outside of your area of specialty are you willing to go to chase down a deal just for the sake of a commission? There's an answer to that question, and in my opinion, it should be not that far, especially after you've established some momentum in your practice, but you've got to consider your answer to that question. Or how about this? What type of referrals will you choose to accept in your practice? Just last week's video was a great example of a very masterful agent that I've worked with who received a referral that she didn't want to work, and she handled it very well and re-referred it out to someone else. But really what she was talking about is holding a boundary that she had established. Or how about this? How far in your current market are you willing to let a seller push the price before you have to say, sorry, I can't take your listing? Or how long are you willing to drive a buyer all over creation before you decide, okay, you're not really a buyer, you're probably just a looker trying to get decorating ideas? Again, there are answers to these questions, and those answers are your boundaries. Or if you run a team or a brokerage, like how many excuses are you willing to accept from someone on your team who complains that they're not getting enough leads from you and simultaneously refuses to hold any consistent lead generating practice or work on their salesmanship themselves? I mean, at a certain point in time, you'll think to yourself that, okay, we need to disassociate ourselves with you. And whenever you reach that point, or whenever you could see yourself reaching that point, the answer to that question is your boundary. And so the trick with boundaries is to become conscious that you have them, and then work to establish them in a way that works for you with what you've got going on in your life and your business. But most importantly is to make sure you communicate it. And you guys know I love Dr. Dyer, and I have his daily quote calendar. It just so happens that on Saturday, June 29th, a couple days ago, this one came up. If others aren't treating you as you'd like, acknowledge I've taught these people how to treat me as a result of my willingness to make their opinions of me more important than my own. It's now my intention to teach them how I wish to be treated from here on in. That's what we got to do, right? We got to teach people how we want to be treated. He's talking about boundaries, right? Thank you, Dr. Dyer. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching this week. Scroll down, hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought about the message. My name is Jason Edwards. Let's go think bigger this week.